So what is Buddhism really all about? In this explainer, we're going to get right to the heart of it. We're going to strip away some of the more complex stuff and just focus on the core logic, the fundamental ideas that have guided millions of people for, wow, over 2,000 years.
Let's start with a feeling I bet everyone recognizes. You know that sense that even when things are going pretty well, something's just off? Maybe you hit a big goal, you got the thing you wanted, but there's still this quiet, nagging feeling that something's missing? Well, that feeling, that's exactly the starting point for the entire Buddhist analysis of what it means to be human.
Okay, so let's frame this whole thing like a doctor's visit. Buddhism starts with a diagnosis. It identifies this universal problem, this fundamental aspect of life that every single one of us deals with, whether we're conscious of it or not.
And that problem is called dukkha. Now, the usual translation is suffering, but honestly, that word doesn't quite capture it. When we hear suffering, we think of big, dramatic pain, right? And yeah, dukkha includes that, but it's also so much more subtle. It's the low-level anxiety that comes from knowing the good times can't last. It's the frustration when things just don't go your way. It's that deep background feeling that nothing is ever quite perfect because, well, everything is always changing.
All right, so if dukkha is the diagnosis, the illness, then what's the cause? Because Buddhism doesn't just point out the problem, it zeroes in on a very specific source for all this dissatisfaction we feel.
And this is just a brilliant way to understand the whole logical framework. The Four Noble Truths work exactly like that medical diagnosis. Step 1, identify the sickness. That's dukkha. Step 2, find out what's causing it, a little thing called tanha. Step 3, offer a prognosis. Is there a cure? Yes, it can stop. And finally, step 4, write the prescription, the Eightfold Path.
So let's look closer at that cause, tanha. It literally means thirst. And you know that feeling, right? That relentless urge to get what we want or to get away from what we don't want. But here's the key insight. The problem isn't desire itself. It's totally fine to want things. The problem is when we cling to those desires, when we stake our entire happiness on getting and keeping them, especially in a world where, let's be honest, nothing lasts forever. That's a setup for disappointment, every time.
Okay, so if clinging is the cause of our dissatisfaction, what's the cure? This brings us to the really practical, actionable part of the whole system, the what do I actually do about it part. And here it is, the Eightfold Path. Now, this isn't some random list of rules. It's this incredibly well-designed, holistic program for living. And it's basically built on 3 pillars. You've got wisdom, which is about seeing things as they really are. Then you have ethics, how you behave in the world. And it's all propped up by mental discipline, basically training your own mind.
And that's where a practice like meditation comes in. Think of it like a gym for your brain. The whole point is to build up this awareness so you can actually watch your thoughts and impulses come and go without just being yanked around by them. You create this little pocket of space where you can choose how to respond instead of just blindly reacting on autopilot.
But why? Why do all this work? What's the end game of following this path and training your mind? Well, it's all about reaching a very particular state of being.
And that ultimate goal is called nirvana. Now, this is super important. Nirvana is not a place. It's not a heaven you go to when you die. It's a state of mind you can achieve right here, right now. It's what's left over when that constant thirst, that tanha, finally fades away. It's this deep, profound inner freedom, a kind of peace that doesn't depend on whether things are going your way or not. You know, this brings up a really fascinating comparison. Most of us chase happiness from the outside in. A new gadget, a promotion, getting likes on social media. And yeah, that stuff feels good for a little while, but it's fleeting. The Buddhist idea of happiness is the complete opposite. It's an inside job. It's a stable, lasting peace that comes from changing your relationship with the world, not from trying to control the world itself.
Now, this whole system is really built on a powerful foundation of personal responsibility. And that idea is wrapped up in the concept of karma.
Okay, karma. It's a word we throw around a lot, but its original meaning is actually pretty simple. It just means action. It's not about fate or some cosmic scorekeeper deciding to punish you. It's more like a natural law, like gravity. Our intentional actions, the things we choose to do, have consequences. Plain and simple. The intentions behind your actions shape your reality.
This idea of action and consequence leads to an even more mind-bending concept, anatta, or no self. Think about it. If karma is all about cause and effect, who or what is actually experiencing those effects?
Buddhism says there's no permanent, fixed, unchanging you. Instead, you're more like a process, constantly changing. And this is huge because it means you aren't trapped by your past. You are literally being recreated in every moment by your choices.
So, when you put karma and anatta together, you land on this incredibly powerful conclusion. Since there's no God pulling the strings and no fixed self to blame things on, the responsibility for your life, your happiness, your suffering rests entirely with you and the actions you decide to take.
And this is where you can see a really interesting contrast with another major worldview. In the Buddhist framework, responsibility is just a natural law. The consequences of an action can't just be erased by someone else. But you always have the power to change your future actions. In Christianity, responsibility is connected to God's judgment, and forgiveness is possible through divine grace, which can literally wipe the slate clean. They're just two very different ways of looking at morality and consequence.
So, after going through all of this, what exactly is Buddhism? Is it a religion you have to believe in, or is it more like a practical philosophy for how to live your life?
Well, the really fascinating answer is, it's kind of both. For millions of people, it is absolutely a religion, with sacred texts, traditions, and deep-seated beliefs. But for many others, especially in the modern world, its core teachings can be approached as a completely secular philosophy, a kind of psychological and ethical roadmap for living a better life without needing to adopt any supernatural beliefs at all.
And that really leaves us with the final big question to chew on. Is Buddhism a system that asks for your belief, or is it a set of practices where the value is found simply in the act of doing them? Honestly, the answer might be different for everyone, and maybe, just maybe, that flexibility is one of its greatest strengths.